Here we've got two of Apple's newest earbuds, the AirPods Pro 3 and the Powerbeats Fit. And today we're going to be comparing everything about the two of these. And if you happen to be coming from an AirPods Pro 2 or maybe the Beats Fit Pro, I'm going to let you know which one of these makes sense to upgrade to. Now for me personally, I've got a favorite and I'm never going back. But before we get started, we got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, ZipRecruiter. You ever feel like trying to find the right person for a job is like finding a needle in a haystack? You post, you wait, and then you sort through a ton of applications only to find that none of them are the right fit. Trust me, I've been there, but not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/consumer. The second you post a job, ZipRecruiter's technology gets to work matching you with the right candidate. I love that it's not just throwing resumes at you, and it actually curates the right one. So no endless scrolling, just the best options front and center. It's like having a hiring assistant that actually gets it. So ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, that needle in a haystack. Interestingly enough, 4 out of 5 employers find a quality candidate within the first day. Again, you can try it yourself for free at ziprecruiter.com/consumer. And of course, I'll have it linked down below in the description. But right now, it's looking like ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. So let's go ahead and take a look at them and first compare the design. Now, right out the gates in terms of design, when it comes to the AirPods Pro 3, these look very much like a pair of AirPods. There's no confusing them, but they are actually slightly different in terms of their overall design. Apple has made huge, massive, really, improvements to the comfort of these earbuds. It is well documented that I tend to struggle with keeping earbuds inside of my ear. In-earbuds are my safest option because they kind of go in the ear, but I've honestly struggled with those as well. But with what Apple has done with the AirPods Pro 3, I don't have to worry about that anymore. They've solved all of my comfort issues by actually taking the ear tip and changing the position of it. So now these go more inward towards your ear canals rather than just being positioned forward. Apple did a lot of research to make sure it doesn't rest so much on this part of the ear, which is why I struggle. Mine goes downward, and now I don't have to rely on that piece of the ear in order for these to stay in. So in terms of comfort, Apple has solved the biggest problem in terms of earbuds and them staying in the ear, and I absolutely love these for that. Now, when it comes to the Beats Fit lineup, they use a wingtip design. So as you can see over here, these go in the ear, and then with this wingtip, it's positioned so that it stays inside of the ear. It rests on the top. Now, when it comes to the Beats Fit Pro, the predecessor, these actually had a larger wingtip. So for me personally, these actually stayed in my ear a bit better than the new Powerbeats Fit do. So you guys can see it in my ear right now. These actually do a really good job at like resting against the ear, whereas these, they're smaller, so they don't quite reach the same way that those do. That's not to say that these don't sit in the ear well for me, they do, but I think I had a better time keeping them in the ear with these guys. But I think for the most part, most people won't have a real issue with this. But for me personally, I like the fit of these just a little bit more. Now, when it comes to comparing these guys to the AirPods Pro 3, it's night and day. What Apple has done with the comfort and the ear canal thing over here completely changes everything. The AirPods Pro 3 sit in my ear way better, even though these have the inclusion of the wingtip. I think for a lot of people who have normal shaped ears, with the wingtip, you get that extra point of contact, so regular folk might have an easier time keeping it in their ears. But for me and anybody else who has oddly shaped ears, I think the AirPods Pro 3 definitely, like, if it works for me, I think it can work for anyone. Now that's comfort and the way it's designed to sit in your ear, but when it comes to straight up aesthetics, I think I like these more. The Powerbeats Fit look really good, and I'm glad they came out with an orange version so that it could go along with like the orange iPhone. I don't know how long this whole orange thing will last, but I'm here for it. I think it looks really good. But even if you went for like the other colors, I think aesthetically the Powerbeats Fit look better than the AirPods Pro 3. But what do you think, Oscar?
I do like the Beats a little bit more. Yeah.
A little bit more. So boom, boom.
Yeah, they look better on you.
But yeah, looks are subjective, but Powerbeats I think look better and they have more color options compared to the single white look of the AirPods. And when it comes to their cases, the footprint is slightly similar. The AirPods are a bit on the wider side. They're more rectangular than the square shape of the Powerbeats Fit, but they can both enter the pocket or a bag or purse, no problem. So that's not a real issue. One thing I gotta give Powerbeats some credit for is decreasing the size of the case compared to the predecessor. It's a much smaller case, slightly smaller earbuds, but for this being so much more compact, I think the difference between the cases is negligible when it comes to walking around with it. But what's not negligible is the fact that the AirPods Pro 3 case does have its own chip, and what that gets you is precision finding. So if you misplace your AirPods, you can just go into the Find My app and precisely locate it with the arrow. And it also has speakers, so it can make sounds if you misplace it and you're trying to look for it. And it also supports MagSafe, so you can put this on a MagSafe wireless charger and charge it wirelessly. Whereas with these, you don't have any of those features. This is a superior case. It's a much better case than this guy, I think, in most aspects. I mean, it's orange, but this has way more functionality. Now, with just this case alone, we've talked about a few features that the AirPods Pro 3 has that this doesn't, but let's talk about some of the other features. So they both feature active noise cancellation. So active noise cancellation and transparency mode. So you can block out sounds, you can let the world in if you want to. But when it comes to the active noise cancellation, the AirPods Pro 3 does perform better than the Powerbeats Fit, and that works with the transparency as well because of the new update. Now, one of the new features that the AirPods Pro 3 has gotten over the last gen AirPods is the heart rate sensor. So right here, you've got the heart rate sensor. So just like what an Apple Watch would do in terms of tracking your workouts, calories burned, you can now just keep your earbuds and it'll track your heart rate, calories burned. You can use it to, just track your vitals during a workout. As of right now though, it is limited to Apple Fitness in terms of like tracking your workout and using some of those other cool features like Workout Buddy, which is like an AI coach in your ear who tries to motivate you during the workout. You can access that there too. Not something that you'll see on these guys. And the last big feature that the AirPods Pro 3 got is live translations. So you can actually have a conversation with someone who's speaking another language and use the Translate app to completely translate the conversation. And it actually works really well for a one-on-one conversation. And if you guys want to see like the full list of features and how it actually works in the real world, I have our video linked down below where we test out all of the features of the new AirPods and we take it out in the real world and answer some questions that a lot of people have about these. You can find that down below. I mean, there's a solid list of things that the AirPods Pro 3 can do that the Beats Fit can't. I'm not gonna lie, when the Beats Fit Pro got its successor, I thought we were going to be looking at something much closer to the AirPods than what we've gotten, but maybe it's because this is well supported on Android, but I guess Apple doesn't want a full AirPods equivalent on the Android side of things. This still supports Android, but you're not going to get all of the bells and whistles that this thing provides. Now let's talk about the big thing, right? And that is of course sound quality. When you compare these to the previous generations with the AirPods, I find that these have maybe slightly more bass. I feel like you can hear there's like a bit more of a fullness to the sound. Some people might not be crazy about it, but it's not a massive difference in my opinion. There's definitely, if you're really listening close, you can hear a little bit more bass. Maybe that might impact the vocals just a tad in comparison to how they sound over here, but I've honestly got no complaints. I personally love some bass. So I'm not mad at what these sound like at all. These sound great, but if you're like a go hard, maybe you might notice a difference. Regular everyday folk though, I wouldn't upgrade from the 2s to the 3s just off sound quality alone. Even as somebody who loves having a little bit more bass, that wouldn't be my reason to upgrade from these. And don't worry, I'll include some sound tests so you guys can hear for yourself. When it comes to the Beats Fit Pro and the Powerbeats, when you compare their sound quality, honestly, there might be some slight improvements with the Powerbeats Fit. It sounds like the vocals come in a little bit more clear, a tiny, like a a smidge of that. These sound very close to each other for me personally. I also would not upgrade from these to these off the sound quality alone. I honestly wouldn't upgrade from either of the previous generations to the new ones just for sound quality. But when you compare these two to each other, for me, the AirPods Pro are way better because they actually go into the ear canal and I can just hear the audio a lot more clearly since it's going directly in there compared to the Powerbeats Fit. Now, the Powerbeats Fit sound fine. Like, I'm actually not mad at the audio quality here, but I honestly hear everything quite a bit more on the AirPods compared to the Powerbeats, just the nature of their design. And I think that has more to do with their overall design and form factor than the actual sound signature. So for me, vocals, bass, the overall just presence of the entire soundstage sounds far, far better on the AirPods Pro compared to the Powerbeats Fit. In a vacuum, I'm not mad at the audio quality here, but I don't know, I think it's not as loud. I don't know if that's due to the seal not being as good as what we get with the AirPods Pro 3, but it just feels like it's lacking a little bit when you compare them directly. In a vacuum, these sound fine. I do wish they were a little bit louder. When it comes to sound quality for me, these actually trounce these guys. All right, they're blowing leaves out there, but battery life, on a single charge, these guys will give you about 7 hours of playback without active noise cancellation. I think it's like 6 with, and you get 8 hours with active noise cancellation on the AirPods Pro 3. So even without active noise cancellation, you get an extra hour of usage with these guys. And when it comes to the cases, they both give a total of 24 hours of usage with active noise canceling on. So they pretty much match in total battery life, but that 8 hours of usage on a single charge is the key differentiator here because these last longer. So these definitely win in the battery life game. They both have fast charging. So 5 minutes should get you an hour of playback on both of these guys. So battery life, these win. Now, of course, we got to talk about the price. With the AirPods Pro 3, these cost $250, whereas the Powerbeats Fit will cost $200. Now, if you ask me, I'd pay the extra $50 to get everything else that these offer. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, but I'm not mad at the $200 if you're on the Android side of things because you won't need all the bells and whistles that these offer since they won't work with your phone anyway. So if I had to choose between the two of these, I think these definitely get my recommendation over the Powerbeats Fit. I just think that they're a better overall pair of earbuds. They fit in the ears better, they sound better, they last longer, they have more features. I even think they have a better IP rating. So even though these are geared for like, you know, being active and working out, this will handle a little bit more in terms of durability than these guys. So it's a no-brainer for me. Even with this costing $50 more, it is absolutely the better choice compared to the two of these. And when it comes to upgrading from the previous generation, comfort alone makes this worth upgrading compared to the previous gen. Not to mention also getting like the heart rate sensor, improved battery life on the earbuds themselves. Yeah, I think it's worth the upgrade. But if you're coming from the Beats Fit Pro, Powerbeats Fit, they could make sense if you like the smaller footprint. I don't know if I'd jump ship to these. The smaller footprint is nice, but I did find that these sit in the ear a bit better for me, and the sound quality doesn't seem like it's leaps and bounds better. So I don't know, I'd hold on to these unless the case bothers you, then you can definitely go here. But yeah, the real comparison here is between these two, and these are the clear winner.